like this, so they wonder, they asking me if I can slow it down, because it's coming too fast.
Episode 7 on Sports Card Talk. Welcome back, whoever is listening on the pod, or if you're watching on YouTube. We got Coleman cards back in action. We got Steeler cards, Shia back in action. How we feeling, gentlemen?
Doing great, man. Thank you for having me, as usual.
We're feeling great, Big Sash.
What's been going on in the sports card world over the last couple of days? Because for me, it feels like there's deals coming at me. There's stuff I'm always selling. KD is up. KD tops Chrome Refractor PSA 10. I think hit like an all-time high of like 16, 17K, if I'm not mistaken. It seems like the basketball market is back.
There's some controversy around that KD. People are thinking it's manipulated.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I educate me. What's the
I
word
don't
on the
know.
street?
I'm hearing on the street that there's a lot of people that own a lot of them. I don't know what the pop is. I think the pop is like 150 or something like that. And there's guys that own them that are manipulating that price up. But to be honest, I think at 16K, if a LeBron is 55K, I feel like it's kind of right on. I don't know. Again, I don't know. I don't know if it's manipulated. I don't know if it's not. I don't have any data. I just hear rumblings, So.
You hearing the same thing, Shia?
Yeah, from the infamous group chat, the group chat. Shout out to the group chat. Yeah, I've been hearing same stuff, and Kyle Guy, THT, doing some great stuff out there. Everybody loves Taylor Horton Tucker putting on the show.
Oh my God!
Our
What do you?
prices are booming.
What do you guys? Are you guys like? When I saw the prices of all these kind of like guys that are shooting up, like I was like, what is going on here? Like, are you guys like of the same mindset? Like I just feel like people are just gonna be losing a lot of money here.
I love it. I think it's interesting. It's the reactionary market.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just gotta enjoy it. Honestly, THT is playing pretty good. He did well last night. He's had 2 solid games. Kyle Guy hit the game winner. The next big thing. So yeah, some prospecting. I know Sasha likes some prospecting.
I'm gonna bring a question in from Instagram. Reed Goose Kid, that's a lovely username, asked, what is your strategy for buying basketball going into this NBA season? And I think I want to see Coleman's feedback first, because I mean, Coleman, you're always buying and selling basketball. I mean, that's like what you do. So what is your is it different than maybe what it was last year?
I mean, yeah, I would say so. Just because, look, like at the end of the day, a card that was $100 last year is like $1,000 this year, right? I mean, every single prospect, their silver PSA 10 is like $250 or $400 or $600 or something like that. It's crazy. So when there's more money like that, you just have to be, a little bit more disciplined and a little bit more selective, in my opinion. I'm playing with a little bit more than I was, so I get the luxury of taking some of the risks and stuff. But again, like my idea of prospecting isn't going after the THTs or the Kyle guys and stuff like that. Like I just, I picked this up today, and full disclosure, I own like 3 of them. I own a bunch of MPJ stuff, just because I think that team's going to be a top 3 seed. I think MPJ is going to get a lot of play. He's got superstar potential. And, I think they're going to figure out a way to play him. And, I was just listening to the Prizm God podcast, and, they were talking about him a little bit too as like most improved player. And, it just made me feel even better about my buys and stuff. So with my purchasing and stuff like that, with prospecting, this is about as crazy as I get. I really don't go down the rabbit hole too much. I'm trying to buy more established guys. I'm trying to buy LeBron. I'm trying to buy Luka. I'm trying to buy that type of stuff. And then, stuff on the fringe is going to be, guys who have at least come into the league and done something and had a moment to where that now they're building off of that, right? So, like, my prospecting is like guys that I think are going to be like most improved player candidates, So I got the MPJs, I got the Shea Gilgeous-Alexanders, like stuff like that, guys that I think are going to get a higher usage and build off of what they did last year.
What about you, Shia? What are you buying these days?
Yeah, so I'm kind of in the same boat as Mike, but a little bit different. I am going after the guys like Luka, LeBron, Kobe, obviously. I'm actually trying to get into the more rare stuff as of now. I know that's always a nice little journey, a nice little hunt. In regards to prospecting, it's so hard for me to spend $1,000 on a Michael Porter Jr. Silver PSA 10. Just in regards to not even in the card world, let's say, not even in card terms, just $1,000 is straight up a lot of money. And for me, I don't have that much faith. I don't want to say I don't love MPG and I don't hate him.
Full disclosure, I traded for it.
For sure. I think his potential is unbelievable, but also the risk is a lot as well, especially with Jamal and Jokic, and they play like a lot of team ball. But in regards to prospecting, I think that a lot of people are getting into the whole thing of stashing players and just holding them from ripping or early in the year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how I like to do it, but a little bit differently. Whenever I go and buy raw lots for grading, I don't mind going and buying those Brandon Clarks, Chuma Okikis, Cam Johnson, all those guys to go and grade, because I'm getting into those at whatever, $5, $3, $10, whatever the comp is. You're able to grade it, and especially if it's in good condition and at PSA 10s or PSA 9s and you break even. Or if it's in bad condition, you can either decide to sell it or hold it. But I don't really go after the big like Prizm Gold or any of those of the prospects. I just kind of like to balance it out.
Yeah, it was interesting. Today I did a deal for nothing even like gnarly. It was just some base Mitchell, some base Zion stuff, a couple other things, and it was like, I was getting a good deal, and it was like $6,000, and I was like, a year ago this was like a couple $100, for like all this stuff, and now I'm paying $6,000, and I'm stoked because I know I can, flip it for 7.5 in the next 3 days. You know what I mean? So it's just the entry point to get in now is just so much higher. And I just realized it now where I'm like, damn, like $6,000 for a couple base stuff is the reality that we're in. Which is just crazy to me, man. It's just crazy. I mean, like, if you're 13, 14, 15, 16, like $6,000 is probably like unheard of too at the same time.
It's going to shape up for bigger losses, right? So like, because of all these big gains, now because of how much exposure there is, it's just going to be the same thing, but on a different level, right? So the losses are going to be compounded now.
Yeah. And the one thing I want to point out is the reason I bought, I wish I had it here. But the reason I bought those cards is because I knew what it was worth. And I knew, and it's not something I'm holding. I don't hold Zion, right?
No, 100%, 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
I know maybe Shia holds all the Zion, so I can just sell it to him. But
Zion's hot right now, and Zion is hot, up, but right. But there's injury risk and stuff too.
Yeah, that's the stuff that I'm always.
For example, since we're talking about injury risk and potential, I'd rather spend my money on Zion than MPJ. No offense to Mike and buying MPJ.
Hey, that is
for sure fair. That's fair.
That's a valid point. I'm just saying, for me, like, I'm always flipping that stuff. Like, it just. Yeah, like, I just don't want to be the one. Yeah, I just don't want to be the one holding the bag on Zion. And if Zion goes to 2,000 for the base 10, fantastic. I made some quick money on it. I'm cool with it. I put it into other shit. You know what I mean?
And so here's what I'm saying with it, right? Is like, I have some MPJ and maybe I have a couple Zion and maybe I'm holding them, but I have a ton of LeBron, Luka, Kobe.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. You're super diversified, and then all that stuff is safe.
So I'm allowed to play a little risky right now, right?
100%.
Whereas some people getting in for their first card, they want to get an MPJ or they want to get a Zion.
Yeah, and
I wouldn't recommend that.
I was literally on FaceTime with somebody last night, and we were talking about like the prospecting game and the ripping game, and it's interesting when you notice, if you have like a friend in your actual life, let's say, and they don't know anything about cards. And most of the time, if they do find out about cards or they ask you about it, the first thing they want to know is, oh, should I buy a box and rip it? And is that how I do it? Like, you know what I mean? It's never like, I want that card, or this is the card you should go. It's always like ripping. And I feel like that's always the first thing people get into when they get into the cards. They start to rip, and that's just straight. It's fun, right? You can hit something big, but it's gambling in its finest form.
Ripping and
Absolutely.
razzing, the two forms of gambling within cards, and prospecting to an extent.
Yeah. I would say this, though. I think that, there are very knowledgeable sports guys that sports bet. And I would make the argument that buying cards of the players that you think are going to have good years, if you actually know what you're doing, if you actually know your sports, your teams, you'll be better off doing that than betting.
Yeah, because betting, you either win or you lose. There's no middle ground. Cards, they won't really go to zero. They're always going to hold, I feel like, some sort of value. And also, you have a lot more time. With a bet, it's one game. While the card could still explode, especially if you're buying it in quantity, and you're not on one game or one season of a team or whatever it may be.
Like Mo Bamba.
Yes, Mo Bamba, the next big thing. I do not own any more Mo Bamba, for the record.
And there's nothing wrong with Mo Bamba for the record either.
Who is the guy that loves Mo Bamba?
Oh, that is
Roy.
the Roy.
Roy,
Bobby.
yes, Roy.
Shout out to the boy. Sheesh.
Shout out to Roy. I don't know if he still has. I don't know if he's still stashing. Is he?
He still has some. He sold some, but he still has some for sure.
Yeah, I mean, shout out. I mean, if you really believe in a guy, right? Then
Roy is a master prospector. He bought Mahomes early, bought Watson, bought Giannis back in whenever that was. He knows what he's doing. I don't know if Mo Bamba's gonna pan out, but he's had a pretty good track record.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring in another question from Instagram. Somebody asked, "Are PSA 8s and 9s worth the buy as PSA 10 prices are continuing to hit all-time highs?"
So the way I answer this question usually is you should always buy the PSA 10 if you can buy the PSA 10, because the PSA 10 is the investment card. So my buddy at First Off the Line just hit me up tonight, John, and he told me how a Luka Prizm Red PSA 10 has just now sold for $20,000.
Shia was just telling me about this.
Right. So a PSA 9 of that is like a $6,000 card. And it's been a $6,000 card for like the last couple of months. Now, a PSA 10 was probably, I don't know, true value, 12, 13, 14. Maybe it was worth more than that. But the fact that someone just paid 20 for it just shows that the big money wants the PSA 10. They don't care. And that card's going to always move faster. So the PSA 10 is always going to move up at a much more exponential rate than the PSA 9s or the PSA 8s. That's why the PSA 9s and PSA 8s cost what they do.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they would cost more. So if you're buying the PSA 9 or PSA 8, that's fine. You still might see some gains, but just know you're paying for what you're getting. What's the saying? You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
You want to pay a third of the price, you're going to get a third of the returns.
Yeah.
And one thing to keep in mind, just to build off of what Mike said, is that the PSA 10 will always be the first mover. The PSA 8 isn't going to move first. The PSA may move while the PSA 10 isn't, but it's not moving first. It's catching up.
100%.
The PSA 10 may explode, and then people are like, oh, the PSA 8, PSA 9 are way too cheap. They start buying it, price goes up. But it's never the one to increase once the player explodes immediately. It's always going to be the 10.
100%. And I think the one thing I would say is that for rare cards where maybe a 10 is super hard to pop up, go for the 9, because the 9 pop isn't probably going to be that much, right? But I think with the modern market, if you're going for base and you're like, hey, like maybe I should go buy a 9, great, cool. But like you said, Shai, the 10's going to go up first, and then eventually the 9 will pick up with it.
Yeah.
And also you're probably going to have more of a pop. There are going to be more 9s out there than the 10s, right?
And I think this is mainly directed towards the base cards. Obviously, if you're getting like an orange or a mojo or something, of course the PSA 10 will be great. There's nothing wrong with a 9 by any means.
Yeah.
But I think we're mainly directing our attention towards the base market, with there's so many 10s. probably I don't know what the pop on the 9s are, but like just the amount of cards that are out there.
Well, selfishly, because I just heard that a Luka Red 10 did 25,000 supposedly. I don't know if we have that
25 or
confirmed.
20?
Or was it 20?
20.
Oh, 20,
20. Yeah,
20,000.
20.
What is a Red Choice 10 worth then today?
For the record, I believe Sash owns a Red Choice.
Out of 88?
Yeah, it's at 80 something, 70 something, 80 something.
88. Wow, you own one of those. 30, 25, 30. I just think True Hobby Color is just different. Like,
I want to make a public service announcement. If anybody wants to buy my Luka Red Choice 10 at 30,000, you know where to find me.
yeah. Just show up to your house tomorrow with the cash.
Just come on by, right? I'm ready to go. I'm ready to roll. Or I'll be at Burbank Sports Cards on Saturday. You can pull up there.
Right. So I mean, like, who knows? Maybe it's worth 20. Maybe it's worth 18. Maybe it's worth 24. Who knows? That's such a hard one to place because there's no market for it. I'm guessing, right?
Yeah.
And
Or
it
I'm
comes
trading.
down to what is someone willing to pay.
100%. 100%. Right. Yeah. No, that's a given. No, I think. Go ahead, Shai.
All right. I think that choice is just kind of hard. I know a lot of
It
people
is.
love it, and some people are like, okay, it's not bad. Especially with like the blue, yellow, greens are so beyond hard to hit. People don't realize it. And yeah, it's more, but it just doesn't get that love because it's like retail and there's hobby and then there's like choice, which is like kind of off to the side. It's kind of like T-Mall with all the other ones. It's off to the side. So I think it's obviously a great product, but I don't think it compares to the hobby color, in my opinion.
But here's what would spark in my head, Sasha, if that was my card. In my head, I would say, cool, there's a red comp for 20K, PSA 10. I'm now going to take this choice, and I'm going to get someone to give me 25K trade value for stuff that I know what the value is for, right?
Oh, I know what I'm going after right now. So
yeah, so I'm going to lock in that value.
Don't say it, Shai.
Should I say it or should I not say
it? No, don't say it.
If you're trading that for what I think you're going to trade it for, that's an amazing trade.
I'm gonna cook something up, boys.
Yeah, when everyone's
I'm
gonna be wondering what it was.
of that guy, and just say it right now.
Just say don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm gonna make a play. I'll tell you that much. We'll bring in another question from Instagram. I actually like this. Sports Card 753 said rank in difficulty to grade. Mosaic, Select, Prizm, Optic. So we'll go which one is hardest to easiest. Again, Mosaic, Select, Prizm, and Optic. And for this discussion, we'll just say it's all base.
Okay, yeah.
What year? I want to just say, I mean, I don't know. Just in general?
Yeah, just say 2019, 2020, we can say.
2019, 2020. And then this for PSA?
Yeah, PSA.
I would go for it.
I would go Mosaic as the most difficult for base. And then I would go Optic as second most difficult. Prizm as the third, or basically second easiest, and then Select as the first as the easiest.
Cool. I like that. I'm probably pretty. I think I'm the same exact as you on that actually for 2019.
I think I'm similar. I do not have much experience in the Mosaic market. I tend to stray away.
Mosaic is good for color. For color, it's an easy grade.
I definitely think Optic and Mosaic are 1 and 2. I think those could be flip-flop because I know Optic, the centering is a pain.
Yeah.
And I'm just not very well aware of the surface issues and all the other issues that come with Optic, like generally.
Yeah, I mean, you can run through it real quick. Mosaic this year has surface problems, right? It's got dimples, it's got scratches. Optic is just a centering issue, always is. Prizm this year in particular has a centering issue, as well as some surface stuff. And then Select, I honestly haven't graded much Select from this year.
I love Select.
Select is just, I just feel so good when I send in a Select card to PSA because I'm like, that's probably going to be a 10. Um, oh, I like this one. Actually, you know what? I want to switch up this question just because I think we can get more out of it. Um, what are your thoughts on BGS right now in terms of sending your cards um, there, right? Because turnaround time isn't guaranteed for BGS as it once was before. Um, and it just seems like 9.5 values aren't there anymore.
Not there.
I mean, in my opinion, like I don't send anything really to BGS. I know, Coleman, we have that one KD card at BGS, but that's, I guess, the only card that I'm in with somebody that I have at BGS. But also at the same time, you look at PSA and it's taking 4 months for a 20-day to come back. A 10 days taking a month and a 5 days taking 2 to 3 weeks. Like, what's the play there as well? Like, I feel like a year ago, man, or even 3 months ago, sending cards into PSA was a given. You send in a PSA, forget about them. Every month you have cards coming back, income coming in. But now it's just like it's taking so long. So like, what if somebody asked you, should I go PSA, BGS? What are the benefits? What are you doing? You know, how would you kind of break it down?
For me, it all just depends on what you're submitting. It's plain and simple. So like I do a BGS order every week, but I don't do 10-day right now because I have a 10-day. My only 10-day is one with our KD in it. We submitted it August 28th. And I haven't heard anything back from it. And I think it's on 80 business days or 90 business days or something like that
Oh
on
my
a 10-day.
God.
I think it's something crazy like that, right? So I don't do 10 days. Every week I do a 2-day. I send it out on Monday, express overnight. It gets there Tuesday. They check it in on Wednesday. They complete it on Thursday. It ships out and I have it back Friday or Saturday. So I'm doing a
Wow.
2-day. It costs $120 per card to do it, $125 per card to do it. And basically I'm submitting things like, you know, I cracked a couple Luka Silver 9s that like looked perfect because I knew that PSA was just brutalizing that card and not trying to put out 10s. Send those into BGS, they get 9.5 min gems. So all of a sudden it goes from a $2,500 card to a $4,500 card. So that $125 is completely negligible, you know, and all you got to do is hit one of them. Look, man, you traded me a Zion Prizm Silver PSA 9, you know, a couple weeks ago. I sent that into BGS on a 2-day. It got a 9.5, you know, so like that's $900. I mean, look, man, like, look, I mean, like, but that was the one card that hit for me. You know, I just got lucky.
Yeah.
It was the one card that hit for me and it paid for the entire order, thank God. You
That's
know,
facts.
so it's like, I mean, so I do that with BGS.
Who are you sending with for BGS? Who's your
I go personal, so I just send
Oh,
it
you
out
do
myself.
personal. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just send it out myself. And then with PSA, look, the name of the game right now is you need slabs back. You need slabs back. So you can't be sending value. You know, I send value every 2 weeks only because I've been sending value every 2 weeks for a year.
Let's
So
clarify what value is for the viewers.
45 day, but 45 day doesn't exist, and they're not supposed to say 45 day.
The majority of people know like the number, the fake
Right.
number.
They know it is 45 day, but it's not 45 day. It's value. It could take 6 months. It could take 8 months. It could take whatever. So you say 45 day and people think, oh, 45 business days. Wrong. It's like
Nowhere near
120
that.
business days. So it's like, but I don't think anybody should be sending in value right now that needs slabs back because you're not going to see those slabs back for 6 months. So if you're just sending in cards right now, you're not going to get cards back until after the next season is like over basically. So if you're sending cards out right now, you better be very selective on what you're sending because you better be darn sure that they're going to get PSA 10s and you better be sending them like regular service, $50 a pop. So you can get them back in a month or 5 weeks or 6 weeks. So you can flip them and then put more money into cards and get your machine working for you. Because if you didn't get in 6 months ago and start getting the machine working of sending orders in every single week or 2 weeks or something like that, you're not going to have that supply line of cards coming back from PSA because they're going to get stuck at PSA. So if you're just starting to do this now and you're trying to flip, you need to be spending more money on higher services. Like economy is taking 4 months, 20 days taking 4 months. That's not good enough. Like that's no way to try and like turn a side hustle into a business. It's just not.
I agree.
But I mean, we can afford to do that because we have inventory We have cards that are coming back from PSA. Like I have over 600 cards of PSA right now, all the way through June, that are still coming back. So I have a supply line that's going to keep popping at random times coming back. So if you have that built up, you can afford to do value, economy, everything like that. Otherwise, you need to be doing regular service and express, in my opinion. Even
So
on cheap
Coleman,
shit.
quick question about this. So for instance, I'm looking at Mark's cards sub prices, and the 20 days at $26, while the 10 days at 50. So that's a $24 difference. But on the 5-day, it's $15 more. So are you ever intrigued by sending certain cards that you would usually maybe 20-day? For instance, some like Ja Morant, let's say Prizm base. Would you be intrigued at sending those at the 10-day or at the 5-day?
So it's what, $50 to 70?
$50 to 65.
$50 to 65.
Yeah.
Think about it. If you get a Ja Prizm base that you're like, this thing is beautiful, it's clean, and you pay what, $100 for it? 150? Where do they go for? Call it 100. Maybe it's 100. Let's say it's 125, right? And you put the 55 to 70 bucks into it, or 50 to $65 into it. Now, I mean, the most you're going to be into it is 190. Comes back a PSA 10, it's worth 400. You just doubled up your money, and you got it back faster. You can double your money and then keep trying to do it again. But if you put that sucker in on value, you're not going to see it for 6 months.
But in regards to the lower cards, so let's say like Brandon Clark.
You can't do it. I mean, unless the Brandon Clark is what, $20 card, and now you put 50.
Unless it's a color, silver,
right?
Yeah, just base.
So let's say a $20 card, right? You take a $20 card, you put $50 into it. It better be worth like 180 or 200 when it comes back PSA 10.
Yeah.
Because if it's not, so what happened is
day.
Everybody and their brother submitted the 10, 5, $20 cards, right? There are so many cards down there at PSA, and they are backlogged with them.
Yep.
So if you're trying to send those cards in right now, it's because everyone has already been trying to send those cards in under the cheapest service possible. And so now you're trying to get in line, and you're not getting those cards back for months. So it's taking the small people out of the game.
I want to clarify this. Like when Coleman was talking about, if the jaw, like we use the example of the jaw looks super clean, blah, blah, blah. Just because you have a card that looks clean, like Coleman knows what he's doing in terms of like what he looks for, and he knows when a card's clean. But like if you're just looking at it at face value, like whatever, just looking at it, and you're not looking at it with a magnifier, and you're not looking at the corners and the surface and all that, and you're just looking at it face value, that's not saying that your card's clean, right? So you got to put in the work, just like how we all do. I just wanted to clarify that real quick. And also at the same time, Coleman, you brought up a good point. I think that now people aren't going to be sending in, Brandon Clark base or whatever it is on a 20-day because it's not worth it anymore, because you're going to have to wait for that 20-day for 4 months. And I just don't think people are going to want to do that anymore. And I just don't think in terms of a flipping perspective to me is getting that card back in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months. When it hits 3 months, 4 months, that's a long time. So if people have the money and the equity, sure, they're going to be sending that card in. They're going to forget about it. But for the flipper, for the guy getting into it, for the guy with a limited bankroll, that's tougher.
So yes. in regards to, let's say, Brandon Clark, for instance, his Prizm PSA 10 lasted $92. So, and the 9, I would assume, the last one did 26. So let's say you're buying that card for $5-8 raw, sending it at a 10-day for $50, you're losing money on every 9 that you get. You're losing $25. But then on every 10 you get, you're making 50. So what I'm going to be doing with the Brandon Clarks is I'm just going to send them 20-day, because I'm just going to wait, because I don't want to, my point of grading isn't to lose money. So I'm just going to send them all 20-day, and you just got to have patience with it and continue sending cards in so you eventually start rolling.
Here's where this could actually play. What is a Joe Burrow Prizm rookie card worth?
I have no idea.
Can we say $100?
Sure.
And then Justin Herbert, same thing. Can we say $100?
Sure.
Well, Prizm 10 of that, when it comes back, is going to be a pop one. We haven't seen a Herbert or a Burrow Prizm PSA 10 come
Yeah,
back
that's
yet,
when you
right?
throw it in a 10-day or
Oh, no, 1 day, overnight, or
a
2 days.
base.
Well, I don't know
Yeah,
about a
that's what
base
I'm
because
No.
like $200 or something. Maybe not that, but like $75, $50,
Yeah,
right?
throw it in a 5-10 day, get it back in 2-3 weeks, and you
And then
flip it
boom, and
first
then
to
flip it for
market.
500,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, like so that's the thing. It's just, look, there's more people in it now, so the margins are going to start, shrinking a little bit on this stuff. So you got to put a little bit more in and try and beat the competition a little bit on this stuff that's so easy to make money off of.
Yeah,
Unless
you gotta pick your battles, right?
Right. And that's why it's so important to be trying to find motivated sellers to buy things and flip things without doing the grading too, because that's another way to make money doing it. Like, we're to the point now where if you're just doing grading and you're not willing to put the time into pumping the machine to get it running by consistently putting cards in every couple weeks, and then 4 months later you finally start getting slabs back on a regular basis, if you're not willing to do that, you got to find other ways to make money in this hobby.
100%. It's over the last year, I find it very interesting to see kind of the evolution of like what's happening. Um, and like, yes, grading isn't as easy as it was 6 months ago, 12 months ago. Prices aren't as cheap as they were 12 months ago, but there's still so much money in this market. It's absolutely insane. Like, it's if you tell any investor in the stock market, in the housing market, in crypto, whatever you want to say, and you say, hey, I sent this card in to PSA, which grades your cards. I bought it for, $50, sent it in on a 10-day service, but it took, a month, and that was another $50. I was into it at 100, and I sold it as a PSA 10 for $300 in a month. They would say, what did you
I,
just do?
I got my brother-in-law bragging to me that he just bought some stock at like $70 a share, and it went up $7 in a week. And like, he's just like so happy about it. And I'm just like kind of like rolling my eyes, like,
Yeah, in the card
okay.
world, that's
And
nothing.
and I try and tell him about what you just said, and he just doesn't understand it or believe it, you know?
Yeah, because the public perception, like everybody's like, oh, stocks, compounding and like long-term wealth and this and that. They're just like holding it. And there's also the day traders. While cards, it's this different perception, or it has been for a long while. And a lot of people
And
still have that.
and as we're seeing these big cards, right, getting attention news-wise and media-wise, um, and I think that the investors of other worlds are coming into it because of that, because of those big headlines, right? Um, and I think we're not too far away. And we might have touched on this last episode, but I really don't think we're that far away where we're going to be seeing, you know, um, a how do I explain it? A big like intertwining with like the stock market to cards. Like I feel like a guy that's trading card or trading stocks is going to know about cards and going to want to be into cards.
I've
Um,
seen it. I've seen a couple guys who do it both, especially on TikTok. I've seen guys who have started doing a little bit of both, but it's not obviously that widespread, I don't think yet.
yeah, I mean, I know Coleman, you're wearing a nice shirt there. Well, that is it alt right? That's how you say it.
Oh, yep.
So, I mean, we're kind of on the topic of the new money coming in and new companies and the stock market world. What's the play with alt? What are they kind of doing?
So from everything that I know about Alt, they are a fund. Um, Lior Albadar is the CEO. Darius, who's Dars Cards 35 KD on Instagram, he works directly with Lior, and they have a fund. So basically, they have investor money, and they're buying, Grail cards for their fund. But they're also trying to create their own marketplace too, and they're trying to basically, take over a lot of areas in a way and provide a lot of value in a lot of areas and stuff like that. I can't go into all the details because I just don't have the knowledge, but they basically have a platform which is similar to Card Ladder, which can predict the value of your collection. It can keep track of the value of your collection. It's state-of-the-art stuff. And what these companies like Card Ladder and Alt are doing right now, it's only going to get bigger. Card Ladder is kind of like, the go-to, in my opinion. It's the one that I absolutely use for everything, for my comping purposes and everything like that. I love the guys over there. Where we're going to be a year from now, it's crazy to think. It's crazy to think. And by the way, I love all those guys, but this shirt was also free. So, and it's really nice too. It's really nice. Thank you so much, Lior and Darius. Really appreciate it.
I'm excited to see all these new companies and ideas and come to bout in the next year, because I think it's only going to help the industry and the hobby and get more people involved and make more money for everybody at the end of the day, right? Mm-hmm. That is going to be it for today's episode. Sorry guys, I gotta go jump on a final. But if you're listening on Spotify, make sure you follow us on there on Spotify. The podcast, I'm going to try to get it on iTunes as well, so stay tuned for that. And then if you're watching and listening on YouTube, make sure you like this video, number one. Then you got to subscribe to the channel. That's a must. And then you also got to comment below any questions you have, as well as what you thought of this video, who you agreed with the most. And then again, I appreciate Shai and Coleman for coming on. We're going to be back on next week as well for another 2 episodes. And yeah, I'll see everybody in the next episode.
She want me to lock it down, but I told her to pass the key. You gotta slow it down, girl, you moving too fast for me. Nobody did it like this, so they wonder, they asking me if I can slow it down, cause it's coming too fast for me.